welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews and trailer reactions and documentary analysis. So today I'm doing a movie review of the film called Wolves of War. This dramatic movie is now available to stream online. The movie is rated R and is an hour and 27 minutes. The movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a C. So I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, and even recommendations for other films that I think are also interesting and similar and that you might like better. All right, let's dive in. In a nutshell, at the end of World War II, a tough British officer leads a band of Allied commandos into enemy territory in Bavaria on one last impossible mission to extract an important American scientist held hostage by the Nazis. The suspenseful war drama was directed by Giles Anderson. The story was written by Toby Kearton and Samuel Christopher Ellis. The screenplay was written by Ben Mole and is based on a true story. I love that it's based on a true story. I think the story is interesting by itself, but the fact that it actually really happened makes it so much more interesting, in my opinion. All right, so here's a list of things that I liked about this movie. I really enjoy World War II movies because there's always such a clear line between the Allies and the Nazi enemies, the good guys and the bad guys, right? Well, this film, the line blurs just a tiny bit, offering unique insight. Ed Westwick plays the leading man. I like him, although it was often hard to understand his subtle facial expressions at times. Like he would do little facial expressions. I'm like, wait, what does that mean? And I'd never seen him play in the popular TV show that he did, where he's just this, handsome man. And he definitely looks more like the romantic lead than this hardened soldier, Anyway, I was happy to meet him in this movie. I hadn't seen him in anything before. Matt Willis plays a large role in this movie too. He kind of reminded me of a young Russell Crowe, both in looks and voice quality. So did you know that he's the co-founder and the bassist in the band Busted? So that's pretty cool. Max Thiemack plays the sadistic Nazi leader. He is so over the top in his viciousness that it is easy to hate him. I mean, it's easy to hate all Nazis, right? There are some suspenseful moments, and the team looked like they were trying really hard to create an interesting movie for us. However, there were some things I didn't like or thought could have been done better. For example, there are some very cliched moments stolen from other movies and better movies, a lot of them. I wished I had captions to read during this movie because sometimes it was really hard to understand what people were saying, partly because of their accents, but also partly because they spoke so quietly at times. And I was like, wait, what? What'd they say? The child actors were not very good. And I feel so mean saying that. They're children, but it just looked like they were acting. And the older actors, the adults, were trying really hard not to look like they were acting. There are some bad acting moments throughout the movie. As a grammar Nazi, I wish that they had added punctuation to the end card toward the very end of the movie. I always appreciate reading the rest of the story at the end of movies like this. But it needed punctuation, come on. The field gear and locations in the movie just aren't accurate. True history buffs will be annoyed by that, and that might even prevent them from actually enjoying the movie. The film definitely would have benefited from having a military consultant on set. Maybe they did, but it didn't look like they did. Ultimately, the movie isn't memorable, and that's bad. Wah, wah. Let me give you some tips for parents. There is brutal, bloody violence, brutal, bloody deaths, profanity, including one F-bomb that I picked out. And afterwards, I thought there had to have been more because it's rated R. But that's the only one I picked out. And maybe it was because I didn't hear it because bombs were flying or something. I don't know. Some of the themes that are illustrated well are war, hope, family, science, the value of human life. All right, so I always write down funny lines and interesting lines on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, and I'll share just a few of those with you right now. I didn't write down any funny lines because it's a serious drama, and there really wasn't any humor in the movie. There were some interesting lines though, and so let me share. One is spoken by Jack Wallace, who's played by Ed Westwick, and he says, "I'm clever and will always find a way home." So he says that at the very beginning of the movie to his daughter. So there's some foreshadowing, or at least you think, okay, that is foreshadowing. He's going to survive. No spoilers, though. I'm not going to tell you if he does or not. And then another time he says, in the middle, the thick of all of the war and the fighting and all of that, he says to somebody, "There's not glory in any of this." And I thought that that was an interesting line too, because often we glorify war, even terrible wars, because there are heroic moments. And yet there are a lot of horrible moments that you have to ask yourself, was that worth it in the end? Now, and I'm saying that from a mom, an Army mom's perspective. My oldest son is in the Army, and I just am really hoping the world is going to hang in there so he doesn't have to actually fight in a war. That would be great. But I'm really proud of him for being willing to. And I'm grateful for all of our soldiers who are willing to lay their lives down if necessary in order to protect freedom around the world. Okay, that got political fast. Sorry about that. But anyway, let me tell you, speaking of war, let me give you a couple of recommendations for some movies I instantly thought of. The first one is Saving Private Ryan. It is my all-time favorite World War II movie for many reasons. Now, it is brutal, but it is so well done and definitely worth a watch if you can handle it. And it's not family friendly. It is rated R for sure. And then the second movie I thought of is one that I just recently reviewed called Wolfhound. And it's also based on a true story. It's, a B, C, I can't even remember what grade I gave it. It's not a great movie, but it has kind of the look and feel of this movie, lower budget, but certainly made with some heart and based on a true story. So anyway, check that one out. In fact, I can have that one queued up so you can watch the review right after you finish watching this one and see if it's something that you want to take a look at. All right, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of my video. I really appreciate that because I'm trying to build watch hours so YouTube will reward me. So I appreciate your support. And when you get a minute, run over to Instagram and follow me at Movie Review Mom and also at Trina Boice. That's me. Thank you and have a fantastic day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.